All right. Good afternoon. Good morning, dotloop land. This is Patrick Brossert. I'm a strategic success manager here at dotloop. I also have Bird Bergeron, who is the strategic partners manager for dotloop. And I have Jeff Cohn joining us from the Omaha's Real Estate Group, which is the #1 real estate team in Nebraska and 38th in the country. Thank you for joining us, Jeff.
Hey, I'm super excited to be on the show, you guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
Awesome, no problem. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into Jeff's life and business. Today's session, we're going to be covering and unpacking some of the key components of the top producing real estate team and some of his methodology and some of his best practices. So, sort of an agenda here, and as Jeff begins speaking, the main objective is to keep him on track, as you'll learn. Lots of knowledge and depth of knowledge that we're going to try to mine today. So bear with us. One of those things is overcoming some of the challenges of having a team, period, in real estate, recruiting and retention, and how that can go one of many different ways in real estate, and then leveraging technology and promoting its adoption, and much, much more. So thank you again, Jeff. Hopefully you're ready to tackle some of these questions for us.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it.
All right, cool. Bird, let's go ahead and start off with an easy one for you, Jeff. Okay.
All right, Jeff, we know you haven't had a team very long. You're only going on 7 years, and you've already gone from 70 to 700 deals. I want to talk a little bit about how you knew it was the right time to go from an agent to being a team, and when you're already a team, what's the right time to expand my team?
Yeah. I went to school, got an undergrad degree in business administration with my emphasis being in management, but I've always been an entrepreneur. I always knew eventually I wanted to own a business that essentially was able to generate revenue without me having to be physically active. And any agent listening to this that sold one house, it takes a lot of time and energy to work a real estate transaction from start to close. It takes a lot of time and energy to do lead generation and lead follow-up and marketing and running signs and back office transaction coordination. All of these roles take time. And oftentimes as agents, we're trading time for money. And so I worked as an individual agent in the trenches, just like a lot of our audience members, selling real estate, from 8 in the morning until 10 p.m. at night. I was always on call. With smartphones, they're great, but they're also bad in that if you allow yourself to be connected to them, they'll really run your life. And that's what I allowed to have happen in my life for about 6 years. I got licensed at 23, and I had 3 small kids back to back to back. So I was a father of 3 young children, 4, 2, and a baby, selling about 50 houses a year, making a really great income, but not being present at home and not doing the things I wanted to do, and gaining more weight than I wanted to gain and having more stress than I wanted to have. And I woke up in the morning 2011 and I thought to myself, wow, to earn the same income I earned in 2010, I'm going to have to go on 127 appointments. I'm going to have to make 17,000 outbound calls. Like, I knew exactly, because I track everything, I knew exactly what I was going to have to do, and I wanted to do it a different way. And so I started researching teams across the country and reaching out to top agents and physically joining them or meeting them at their physical office location, their brick and mortar. And I started following all these agents and realizing that there's certain patterns that they've implemented in their businesses that have allowed them to achieve the level of success that they were at. And so I started adopting those patterns into my team in Omaha in 2011. I started the team, and then I exited the business 100% in 2014. So within 3 years, we went from 70 to 425 transactions, and I was able to stop selling. And so that's really the message I like to share with agents on my podcast, the Team Building Podcast with Jeff Cohn on iTunes. I really want to help agents take their business to the next level, empower themselves to have a business that generates residual income while continuing to grow your company. And so that's, I think, what the focus of today's hangout's going to be with us.
Good, yeah, and I'm sure none of that could have been possible without technology, right? Even though you may be touching the phone
Yeah.
at 10:30 at night, you're still
Yeah.
not getting those deal sides without it, right? So can you
It's funny. You mentioned I was #1 in Nebraska. I grew up in a family. My mom got her license when I was in first grade, and she worked as an assistant to my uncle, who was the #1 agent in Nebraska for a very long time. And I remember going into his office and seeing the newspaper cutouts. And I think the best year he ever had, based on what I remember, was about $10 million in volume. And that's back when they didn't even have internet. They didn't have pictures online. They had books that people would flip through with one picture. And so absolutely, technology's allowed me to go 14 times further than he was able to go as a lone agent.
Yeah, can we unpack that box and actually speak to what you look for when it comes to technology, how you think about training that technology, and kind of overcoming some of the barriers that might come with adopting technology?
Yeah, sure. When it comes to technology, I think of the word leverage, which is used oftentimes. So technology, if it can't allow you to be 10 times more efficient than what you would be alone, then it's not a very useful piece of technology. So you think about what an email allows you to accomplish. If you didn't have email, you'd be sending someone a letter. It's probably 10 times faster to send someone an email rather than writing a letter and putting it in the mail and waiting for it to get there.
Yeah,
why
does it take 3 days before somebody replies to my emails though? I don't get it,
Right, I know. They're not checking. I don't know. They haven't hired someone to check their email. That's the problem.
That doesn't happen.
So for me, the first piece that I started seeing, you guys, as we looked at these patterns, this is back in 2011, I started to recognize that all the highly successful businesses had strong foundations when it came to their CRM, their client relationship management software. Some used an Excel spreadsheet. That's what I used when I first started. Some used Top Producer. There's a million out there, and this isn't a promo for CRMs, but I chose to adopt Boomtown. And people oftentimes think of a CRM or a company like Boomtown or Sync or Real Geeks as a company that helps and assists with lead generation. And while that is a component and a strong component of what's attributed to a lot of our success, what mattered most to me was having a centralized place where I myself would put my SOI, sphere of influence leads, and can maintain a positive relationship with that individual so they knew me, liked me, trusted me, and ultimately worked with me or referred business to me. But more importantly, if I were to plug in other agents to my business and then my methodology, I needed a centralized place where we all put our leads in the same place and treated them the same way so we all could have success together. And that CRM, obviously, from a tech standpoint, these companies have come a very, very long way from a value offer standpoint.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's continuity, allowing your business to do what needed with this tech, and tech just allows you to scale that, right?
Yep. So the next example would be our dialing system. So I believe no matter what entity you're at, what you sell, you could be selling anything. The more people you connect with via a Facebook message that goes out, Google ad that goes out, Google organic ranking, or outbound calling, direct cold call, or calling within your sphere, you need to get in front of people. And so we adopted the Mojo dialing solution, which allows you to get in front of 3 times as many people. So normally if you hand dial, you can dial 33 people an hour. If you're on the Mojo system, you'll dial 100 people an hour. And then taking it a next step further, if you pay $2,000 a month for a virtual assistant, which I own a call center, 1000callsaday.com, we have 150 full-time virtual assistants that service teams all across the country. You can hire a virtual caller to use your Mojo line and drop your voicemail that you pre-recorded, but you're not doing anything. You're not spending 1 hour prospecting, yet hundreds of people within your SOI are getting voicemails from you every single month. That's adopting technology and using it to your advantage.
That's beautiful.
That's awesome. As far as that's concerned, basically most of the tech that you're using tends to be on the desktop right now. What are you using that's mobile first, and how does mobile first kind of affect you and your agents?
Yeah. So obviously everything that we do, we can do from our phone. I love the fact that is the case. I do think it's a double-edged sword, like I spoke to earlier, because everything's on the phone. No matter where you are, you're at a birthday party, you're on vacation, you can also work, and your clients know that. So you have to create, we call it time blocking. You have to have barriers. You can't allow people to break through those barriers, or you won't have, I don't believe, a happy life if you're always feeling like you have to be responding to every single thing. And so create limitations. Don't allow your clients to access you 24/7. Have times where you say you're available and then times you're not, where they can leave a message and you can get back to them. But as far as options, obviously dotloop is one that has been awesome. They just adopted the mobile feature. So you can actually execute a purchase agreement or a listing agreement in dotloop from a mobile device. Everything pre-fills. We use the dotloop for Teams product, which has kind of taken the dotloop product offering to the next level for people running brokerages and teams. And it's allowed us to essentially provide our agent with a solution where they put an address and a name in, and it auto-fills the entire contract. They put their name and signature or initial, it auto-fills the entire contract. So my agents have told me it takes them less than 5 minutes to execute a listing agreement or create a listing agreement or purchase agreement and then send it off to their client, and their client can pull it up on their mobile device. And it's incredible. Nothing's even needing to be emailed anymore, or no contracts are needed to be drafted in person. It all can be done electronically. And the beauty behind that is you can leave the listing agreement or leave after executing a contract or sending it off to someone, and you have a copy of everything, and so does your client, and so does the title company, and so does the lender, and so does the other agent. Everybody has it, and it's all been legally electronically signed. So dotloop is one. Hope you guys like that.
Has your team played text messaging yet?
Say that again.
Has your team gotten to play with the text messaging yet?
They have. Yeah, we've been using text messaging. It's been working great as well. So what I believe you're referring to, Bert, is you can text the contracts and addendums to your clients or people that you want to have execute the contracts. So I do know we're using that. And that's very new too, right?
Exactly.
Just within the last couple of weeks, I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Another solution that we've been adopting is Sisu. It's sisu.co. If you want to learn more about it, I'm going to speak to it for a second because I think it's huge when it comes to analytics. But ultimately, you can learn more about it at jeffsfavoritetools.com. It has links to all these different companies that we use. But essentially, our agents, every day, they make calls, contacts, they go on appointments, they sign exclusive agency agreements, they sign listing agreements, they meditate, they work out, they read the Bible, whatever the thing is they're wanting to track. They need to have a place to track it. And so Sisu gives them that ability. And the beauty behind Sisu is a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly accountability piece of software that lives on your phone. But then it provides us with dashboards that we can have access to from a coaching standpoint and an accountability standpoint to make sure our agents are doing the proper activities to help them be successful. So if you're an individual agent right now, you probably tell yourself you keep yourself you keep yourself accountable, you hold yourself accountable. But the truth is you're probably not holding yourself accountable to the full extent that you could to really move yourself to the next level. And so Sisu has empowered my agents to see how they actually are spending their time. And you think about a typical week, an agent on our team on average makes 100 outbound calls in a week. That's only 3 hours of prospecting. And they go on a couple of appointments, they go to a couple of meetings. Now we're only at 10 hours. And I always challenge them. I'm like, what are you doing the other 110 hours that you're awake? See, US culture teaches us we work 40-hour work weeks. Like, who's 40-hour work week? When you're in the trenches and you're first getting started, I'd say you should be working 80-hour work weeks, like what I did when I first got started, with the goal that eventually you won't have to work a day of your life because you'll build a wheel or a system that other people plug into, and you can then just earn a residual income off of them. And so that's my mindset, and I take all of my agents down that path. So the best leaders teach their followers to be just like them. So I have a team of 50 agents. 10 of my agents now have teams on my team and have agents on their teams, and they're exiting the day-to-day grind and they're teaching their agents to sell. And so that's where I would like anyone listening today, look for areas to leverage your business like the dotloop for Teams product or Sisu or Boomtown as our CRM.
Perfect segue. Thank you. So actually, I want to talk about, choosing and picking a team leader, right? We all know, I could be out in the field for 80 hours a week, but ultimately there's somebody, in the back end that's doing a lot of the grunt work for me. So what are a few things that you could think of, like, as far as best attributes as a team leader, and how do you get those team leaders motivated to kind of, run your system along those lines?
I love it. So you're looking at who within my organization is the best fit as a team lead. And maybe for individual agents out there that aren't ready to be a team leader, maybe you're new enough, how do you choose what team you might want to be on? Sure. So first, the first leg to that is, as far as a team leader standpoint, you have to have proof that you've done it. So if somebody's expected to have the respect of their peers, I need to have seen that they actually had success selling. For us, that number's 4 million in volume. In our marketplace, to do about 4 million, you need to do about 30 to 35 transactions. So to be a team leader within my team, you have to be doing about $4 million in volume. The next piece to that is, if you're choosing to be a team leader, you need to hold your agents accountable. So if you're an individual agent looking to be on a team, find a team where they have some type of an accountability process within the team, where they're making sure you're doing the day-to-day activities that they know you should be doing to be successful. When you look at the real estate industry as a whole and how 19 out of 20 agents are out of the business within their first 2 years of being in the business, you ask yourself, why is that the case? And it's the case because a majority of brokers across all brokerage brands have done a very poor job at holding those agents accountable, checking in with them, helping them know what actionables they need to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis to reach their end goals. On the front end as well, I addressed how to become a team lead. As far as choosing what team to be on, I think one of the best questions to ask a team leader is, what are the value adds they're going to offer you to help you make more money in less time with less energy? So my entire focus is, we've built out this wheel, and now we own a coaching company, Elite Real Estate Systems, where we teach agents to get out of the grind and learn how to scale a real estate business. Essentially, we come down to our core pillars, and core pillars would include culture, lead generation, lead conversion, and then systems, like we talked about, the different tech pieces that you incorporate into your business to take it to the next level. But when an agent comes over, typically agents are going to ask the same thing that sellers ask: what's your fee? So agents want to know what's your commission split, and sellers want to know what's your commission that you charge. And I tell both of them they're asking the wrong questions. What they should be asking is, by plugging into my system, how much more money am I going to be able to make you in how little time with how little hassle? It's the same conversation. And so we can actually back that up when we take an agent through our recruiting process, where we're showing them, by being with us, we're going to have you do contract to close through dotloop's for Teams product. I have 2 full-time admin that service 750 sides a year. I don't have 9 admin. A lot of the teams I visit or have visited have, it feels like 1 admin every 100 deals. If you're using dotloop for Teams, you're going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars in overhead expenses that you shouldn't incur simply by taking advantage of that technology piece.
It's beautiful. So what, looking at just recruiting the agents for your team, is there anything different than what you just mentioned? Are you being approached by agents to join your team? Are you actively recruiting? How does that happen organically?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a vice president of business development that helps build our team. We do a very grassroots effort in that nobody wants to be cold called. Agents are sick of having someone call and say, we'd like to share an opportunity with you. So we host charity events every quarter, and we invite all of our recruiting candidates to attend and support our charity events. We host team parties, team masterminds, team training events. I teach free CE every month through our title company that I own, and we offer the free CE, which is awesome. So these agents get this opportunity to meet me, be in front of me. The problem is a lot of people make excuses why someone's so successful. So I remember when I was early in my career and I saw an agent doing anything over $500,000 range, I would always make the excuse. I'd say, oh, well, they're probably married to a doctor and they're just helping all their doctor friends, or they're probably I'd make excuses why I couldn't do that. Mm-hmm. And the truth is, the agents that are selling more have simply followed a process that's worked for them, and they continue to scale out that process. Once you find something that's working, all you got to do is make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And unfortunately, a lot of agents are only doing 20 deals a year or 30 deals, and they're stuck year in and year out because they keep doing the exact same activity. So they're getting the exact same result. So something's got to give. And it's challenging being an individual and deciding to put on the team leader hat, because now you've added the recruiting component. You've added having to pay for someone else's leads, and you're worried they're not going to convert them. You've added now more back office support, more office space, more training, more accountability, and all these other things. And so that's what our coaching is all about, is teaching an agent how to step away one step at a time, so that they don't just have to walk out cold turkey and have everything fall apart. And I actually have a business plan I offer for free. If you go to eliterealestatesystems.com, it has my free business plan, which essentially is the step-by-step process of how you can choose to exit your business and take more accountability and control of your scalability.
Yeah.
Everybody that signed up for the webinar today, you should have gotten that in the intro email. But yeah, if you didn't get it or didn't download it yet, hit up Jeff's website. So Jeff, you've given us kind of the pieces to the puzzle, right? You've given us the tech that you use between dotloop, of course, but also Sisu and Boomtown. You've told us how to recruit agents, and you told us a little bit about like what creates a good leader. Take us back a step and tell us the challenges you've had throughout this process. How did you overcome those, and what should we expect if we haven't yet started our team?
Yeah. So, I'll say first, I thought the biggest challenge would be having the money to pay for the CRM, having the money to pay for the leads, having the money to pay for the office space. So I implemented some really unique strategies that I chose to create. I hadn't seen this in other markets. Some of them I was able to create on my own, and they worked really well. So for example, admin costs are a big cost for most organizations. They might put 10% of their gross income towards their admin. I didn't want to have to put any of my income towards my admin. And so I chose to charge a broker commission on every transaction. And this is legal in most states. Check with your broker and or your real estate commission to see if it's legal in yours. But ultimately, my broker was charging $100 a transaction, and they empowered me to charge $500 a transaction. They got to keep 100, and I kept 400. So I was able to hire new admin positions based on how much residual income I had coming in off of the broker fees that my team was charging. Today, we make about $400,000 off of the broker fees. We did 700 plus transactions last year, and we charged $599 on the buy, $999 on the sell. So it allowed me to zero base my admin. So when people think I don't have money for admin, maybe you should consider charging an additional fee. The other thing was marketing expenses. I spend $10,000 a month in marketing. We generate 2,000 leads a month. In the beginning, I was only spending $2,000 a month in marketing, which included our CRM and our ad spend for Google Ads, Facebook Ads, Craigslist, and a couple others. And Zillow, we had done Zillow as well in the past. So I had all these expenses, and I was fearful, how am I going to continue to scale this as I bring on more agents? Well, it was a very simple solution. I started approaching lenders and vendors. The best vendors were title companies, home inspection, home warranty, and insurance companies. And I would ask them to help assist me in this overhead expense to drive leads to them as well. They have access to all of the leads. And I was able to 100% zero base my marketing expenses as well. So now I've eliminated the cost of admin and I've eliminated the cost of marketing. All I had left, my bottleneck, and you asked me the challenges, became having agents willing to work the leads. And I know that's a lot of people's challenge, having agents willing to work the leads and work the leads the way I teach them to work. When you guys download your business plan, you're also going to get our guide to converting internet leads at a 3% conversion ratio. Nationwide, it's probably less than half of 1%. So we believe we're converting internet leads 6 times better. And the reason is we're touching them probably 10 times more when those leads come in. And so our whole system has been built around these touch points of text messaging, email, listing updates, e-alerts, this whole plethora of direct contact that we have with any incoming lead, both buyers and sellers, to build relationships of trust. And we found it takes on average 6 months from the day a lead gets added to our CRM or registers on our CRM to the day it goes under contract. And so the reason our team wins big, and a lot of teams win big across the country, is they've done a better job than everybody else at simply staying in contact.
Awesome.
I want to point out that 6 months. I think that's a problem that a lot of teams don't realize is it's not something, I mean, with Zillow, we hear this consistently over and over. It's like, why can't convert? They're not great leads. 6 months is normal. If you're talking to them for
that's a norm.
That's not even crazy, right? Even using all these systems, all these processes in place, doing this for that long, he's still having 6 months on average.
And our median, to be honest, the median's 5 months. The average is 7 months. But we've been running our database now for 7 years. We have leads converting after 7 years, which kills our average. But the median is 5 months. So it happens quick. And the piece I want to make sure everyone hears, if you haven't heard anything, the thing that I think is so fascinating is that number is not just with internet leads. That number is more so with leads from your sphere of influence. So grandma's bunco partner who said they're going to sell their house, or a person that comes through your open house, or a person you prospect into expired or FSBO. It's anybody and everybody. Another interesting metric that we've tracked is over the last 5 years, we've tracked our return on investment from every lead source. And I assumed Google leads would be a little better than Craigslist leads, and that Zillow leads would be a little better than Google AdWords leads. And you expected that there'd be like these trends. There is a differentiation like by 4%, but not enough that the agent should worry about it. So there's no gaming anymore. We used to think, oh, let's spend more money on the Zillow leads. They're going to be a little bit better quality because they self-elect versus a Craigslist lead versus an AdWords lead. And net, we found the conversion ratios have stayed pretty consistent across all lead sources and the price points and the commissions, etc.
I think we're hoping to change that soon. In Q4, we're rolling out for all of Zillow, anybody that does use us. Basically, you won't be getting as many leads as you did anymore.
They're going to be better.
Giving you hot leads. So if it's not someone that says, I want to buy a home and a live transfer, we're not going to be giving it to you anymore. So that should be interesting. I'm actually curious to see how your ROI changes and what your team thinks about that new process for us. And
the thing that makes Zillow so unique compared to a lot of the other lead foundations that we've used in the past is Zillow is typically self-elected. So all of our lead sources that we're using now are squeeze pages. We're forcing someone to register to give them access to content. And that's one of the things I feel like Zillow is somewhat shied away from, that forced registration. They're looking for people that self-elect, which makes that lead a lot more qualified. And there's ways to do that, just so everyone knows. I know there's a lot of people that use Zillow because they don't want to force people. You can force people and then have a virtual assistant or internal sales agent company like Rockerbox that's out of College Station, Texas, or a company like my virtual assistant company in the Philippines. You can have someone just call and sift through all those leads and essentially say, hey, are you self-elected? Do you want to proceed? So there's lots of ways to do it. Another thing I want to point out to anyone listening, the patterns that I adopted in my business, I picked the patterns that I liked, that I thought made the most sense for Omaha. Some of the things I'm talking about today, you're like, oh, that's not going to work in my marketplace. Okay, then don't do that one thing that doesn't work in the marketplace. But the biggest challenge I feel like agents face is they have so much information overload. There's so many podcasts and webinars and books and experts and coaches and YouTube videos that people essentially don't do anything. They're like, I don't know where to start. And that's the whole reason we shared with you our business plan. It gives you the step-by-step process that I implemented. There's lots of noise out there. What I would challenge everyone to do is put on your scientist outfit and become a person that's not going to say you know everything. Just say that you're willing to test everything. And that's what I did. So I took Google Ads, for an example. For 12 months, I said, I'm going to put $1,000 a month to Google Ads. I'm going to put $1,000 a month to Zillow. I'm going to put money towards this CRM or that CRM, or I'm going to try out dotloop for teams rather than spending $100,000 a year in admin. And I think I can just have one admin and save all that money. Test it. Don't think that just because you choose to do it, you have to do it the rest of your life. Just do it for a year and track it, test it, and see what works. And so that's been our strategy for 7 years. Everything we've done, we didn't go into it saying this is how we're going to proceed forever. We're going to try this out for 12 months. We're going to see how it works. We've cut a lot of things and we've added a lot of things. But the problem is agents get sticker shock from the cost of something, or they don't have the time or the resources to adopt new technologies that they know will help them grow. And so they get stuck in the weeds. And the teams that I see are most successful, and this isn't just in real estate, this is in anything. They're really great at getting knowledge, getting information from top performers across the country, and then implementing pieces of that top performer's success, and then getting more knowledge and then implementing, then getting more knowledge and then implementing. People get stuck just obtaining knowledge and not implementing, or just trying to implement without having the knowledge behind it. When you put those two things together, you're going to have a lot more ability to affect change.
Awesome.
Great point.
Awesome. So real quick, before we, I'm going to turn this back over to you, Jeff, for more shameless plugs here in just a second. But I do want to make sure that everybody knows today, please make sure that you go to dotloop.com/offer to take advantage of signing up for a free demo for the dotloop for teams. Again, dotloop.com/teams. Go ahead, schedule your demos today. We have some magnificent value props for the rest of October. Take advantage of those. Again, we want to thank Jeff for joining us today. You have 30 seconds, Jeff. Plug away whatever you want to plug away for letting us, pick your brain. We really do.
Yeah, if you liked what I had to share and you think that you could learn more from what we teach, go to eliterealestatesystems.com. I offer you my podcast for free every week live. I offer you free live stream, both group training and individual training. And we offer monthly workshops both in Omaha and regionally across the country. So go learn more on our website, eliterealestatesystems.com.
I appreciate it. Well, thank you very much, Jeff. Everyone, make sure you go to dotloop.com/offers, sign up for a free demo today, and let's jump on this dotloop for teams product. Other than that, I thank you, everyone, for your time. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you, guys.